Being that we are holding this debate on a college campus, what would college students expect from you as congressman if you got elected, and why should young voters vote for you?
Well, first of all, there are a number of private colleges that have sprung up recently, and they have been able to get federal assistance and provide very poor service in return, sometimes not even an adequate education for a student to be able to get a job. And this particularly happened up in Lehigh Valley with the Lehigh Valley College, which ended up going bankrupt. And the tragedy of that is that students then come out of a college program with a huge amount of debt, with a degree that they cannot use to secure employment, and they're stuck holding that debt, and the private colleges then make a pretty hefty profit. The federal government has to crack down on that. Community colleges and other nonprofit colleges are where the federal government should be supporting students, and they should be ensuring that students do get adequate education there before any federal money flows to that. That's a top priority of mine because, again, it is private business making a profit, not delivering a service, and then students getting saddled with an enormous amount of debt. I very much support the President's proposals to bolster the work community colleges can provide, both academic and technical. Recently in Allentown, at a debate that Jackson and I were both at, one of the city councilmen in Allentown referenced how UGI, which is a local gas utility, did not have enough trained workers and technical skills to be able to pull up the pipes and replace them, which are very dangerous because some of those pipes are over 100 years old. So the federal government needs to ensure that local colleges are teaching what the current market needs. Thank you.
Briefly, I just want to respond to what Rick said about me volunteering for Congressman Dent. As many of you know, I used to be a Republican. I've been very forthright about that. When I announced my speech, I indicated, when I announced back in November, that I used to be a Republican and that I was becoming a Democrat. And I was very clear that I did not leave the Republican Party. The Republican Party left me. As many of you know, the Republican Party has gone far to the right. I grew up in a Republican Party that, and my family was very Republican, and I grew up in a family that lionized leaders like Eisenhower, leaders like Teddy Roosevelt, leaders like Abraham Lincoln, leaders who built the Transcontinental Railroad, who built the National Park System, who built the interstate system. Those leaders, those Republicans, could not win elections today. The Republican Party has gone far to the right, and so I've been very open about having become a Democrat, and I do not think in any way that's a negative. In fact, I can't tell you how many people I've spoken with who have said, I'm glad that you've changed parties. I'm glad to see Republicans waking up and realizing where their party has been going, particularly during this last presidential cycle. I think to get to the question about college students, the biggest thing that we can do for college students is to get this economy moving again. There are so many college students that have put themselves in debt, doing the right thing, getting an education, and yet cannot find good and decent work. What we need to do is we need to invest in our infrastructure to get the economy moving again, to get jobs for engineers from colleges, to get the demand in the economy built up so that students can get work and can pay off their loans. Thank you.
Thank you, Jackson. You're going to get the first stab at this next question. As I'm sure you are aware, the great state of Pennsylvania just passed the voter ID law. Do you believe